Welcome, welcome, everybody. Thank you very much for being here. I can't believe it's Friday already. We're halfway through November. Crying out loud, and I sound like an old man, but yeah, time is passing way too quickly. Hey, if you are into true crime, you like to pass by all the fluff, all the sensationalism, cut it out of your life, you found the right spot, and I'm glad you did. My name's Gavin. Thanks for being here. Hey, tonight we're actually talking about the case of 51-year-old Suzanne Simpson. Suzanne was a mother of three. Her body has yet to be found as of a couple of minutes ago, anyway. And we're going to go into her case here because it's an interesting one and it's a sad one. The person who has been arrested in this case is her husband, a guy named Brad Simpson, multimillionaire, though you can't tell from this photo, down in, where are they? The Houston, Texas area. This is a picture I found of the family. I blurred the kids' pictures, though they have been pretty public about this. So let's just get into this just a little bit, just so we can kind of establish a timeline here. This is basically only about a 5-week-old case. Okay. Suzanne was last seen attending a party at the Argyle, a private club in Alamo Heights, Texas. And that evening, neighbors reported hearing an altercation between the couple inside their home. On the 7th, the next day, she was reported missing after failing to pick up their child from school, something that she routinely did. On the 9th, Brad Simpson, her husband, was arrested on charges of assault causing bodily injury. They call that SBI, serious bodily injury, and unlawful restraint related to the events of the 6th, when witnesses saw what happened. Later on, about a week later, authorities conducted a search of a landfill nearby and thought that they might find Suzanne's remains. They did not find her remains. On the 22nd, a man named James Cotter, who was one of Brad Simpson's business associates, was arrested for tampering with evidence after allegedly assisting Brad in hiding a firearm potentially linked to the case. And then on November 7th, Brad Simpson was formally charged with the murder of his wife. He remains in custody right now. The bond is set at $5 million. And like I said, Suzanne's body has not been found yet. So what has happened in the last about 36 hours is a document that was sealed has become unsealed. And that document is the arrest warrant and the affidavit of probable cause. So what I'm hoping to do tonight, I'm planning on doing tonight, is reading through this affidavit. Now, let's see. I need to make sure that I hide these. I've got these new things up, guys. Calgal, do we know if she took the child to school that day? I don't think that she did. No. Chelsea says, Gavin, many similarities to the Suzanne Morphew case. Oh, yeah, and they're from San Antonio, not from Houston. All right, thank you for those comments, guys. If you want to get my attention in the chat, please just put GF, and that will help me to see it on my end, okay? All right, let's go over to the PDF here, and let's go ahead and start reading through this. This actually isn't all that long. It's about 15 pages, but several pages of it we're going to just kind of skip. Like the first page, this is just the actual warrant, right? Okay, this is what we care about. This is the affidavit for arrest warrant. Okay, the undersigned affiant, Detective Hector Ruiz, number 323, being a peace officer under the laws of the state of Texas and being duly sworn on oath, makes the following statements and accusations. A victim in this case has been identified as Suzanne Clark Simpson, date of birth June 16th, 1973, hereinafter referred to as the victim. An actor in this case has been identified as Brad Chandler Simpson. Hold on, let me bring up Mr. Simpson's picture. Date of birth December 30th, 1970, hereinafter referred to as the defendant. Said defendant is further identified in San Antonio police computer files under this identification. It is the belief of your affiant that the offense of murder was committed on or about the 6th day of October 2024. How do they say that down in Texas? Do they say Behar or Bexar? I don't know how they say it. Texas. Your affiant has probable cause for said belief by reason of the following facts. Somebody help me out with that pronunciation. Is it Behar? Somebody help me out. Come on up when you do. Okay. All right. Your affiant has probable cause for said belief by reason of the following facts. Being duly sworn in oath, makes the following statements and accusations. The undersigned affiant, Hector Ruiz, number 323, being a peace officer, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, this usually is just the, hey, these are all my bona fides, right? Okay, we believe that he has them. It's good. All right. Affiant has been assisted during the investigation by the Texas Department of Public Safety, Texas Rangers. The Rangers routinely assist local, state, federal agencies with major and special investigations. On October 7th, 2024, the Olmos Park Police Department was dispatched to this address in Olmos Park. I think it's Behar. Somebody help me out. It's Bear. The X is silent. It's Bear. Okay, you guys are hooking me up. Thank you very much. All right, Bexar County, Texas. For the report of the missing person, this investigation was documented under this case number. Your affiant was assigned to this investigation the following day on the 8th of October as the lead criminal investigator. A victim in this case has been identified as Suzanne Clark Simpson, again, date of birth, June 16th, 1973, white female, 51 years of age. An actor in the case has been, it's the defendant. Okay. It is the belief of your affiant that the offense of murder under this Texas Penal Code, section 19.02, was committed on or about October 6th in the Olmos Park, Bexar County, Texas area. Your affiant has probable cause for said belief by reason of the following facts. Number one, on October 7th, 2024, while off duty, your affiant received a call from Sergeant Melissa Campbell, number 363, a Texas certified peace officer, stating patrol officers were actively working on a missing person case in Olmos Park, Bexar County, Texas. Your affiant was given a brief synopsis of the case. Your affiant notes defendant lives with his wife, Suzanne Simpson, and two of their minor children, ages 5 years old and 15 years old, at their residence located, and then they didn't redact it, 520 East Olmos Drive, Olmos Park, Bexar County, Texas. Your affiant received information from Officer, I think that says Jared Tubbs, a Texas certified peace officer, who told me that he learned from redacted, a credible and reliable person, that friends of Suzanne Simpson met to discuss her disappearance on the evening of October 7th. Redacted called the defendant on the 7th with her concerns about Suzanne Simpson's disappearance. Defendant had not called the police nor 911. She informed the defendant that she was going to call the police. Your affiant learned from Alamo Heights Dispatch. Again, they didn't redact. Sonny Woods initially contacted police on the 7th at 9:57 p.m. to report Suzanne Simpson missing. Your affiant later learned from Olmos Park Police Chief Fidel Villegas that defendant called at 10:11 p.m. and left a voicemail for Chief Villegas after, I'm guessing, Sonny Woods, reported Suzanne missing. Sergeant Campbell told your affiant that initial reporting officers stated that upon contacting the defendant at his residence, the defendant reported he had not heard from his wife, Suzanne Clark Simpson, since Sunday, October 6th at 11 p.m. Now, here is his first mistake. You guys know what I'm going to say. You guys know what I'm going to say because I always say this. He talked to the police, and I'm glad he did. Thank you very much for that mistake, sir. He talked to the police, probably because he felt pressure. He wanted to appear innocent. But listen, you are the person that they suspect. If you are the husband, the wife, the boyfriend, girlfriend, fiance, whatever, you are the person that they suspect. All of you who are smart, if anything like this happens to you, especially if you're innocent, don't talk to the police. But he did. He did. Okay. Paragraph number 3. On October 8th, 2024, your affiant spoke to Officer Christopher Maldonado and Officer Antonio Davila, both Texas certified peace officers. Both officers provided information regarding the missing female identified as Suzanne Clark Simpson. Officer Maldonado stated he had been in contact with so-and-so, a friend of Suzanne Simpson, through the night and gathered information for his report. During this investigation, your affiant received information from Officer Jared Tubbs that he obtained information from Howard Early Childhood Center located at this address in Bexar County, Texas. The information is as follows. The school counselor, redacted, spoke to Officer Tubbs and relayed that the 5-year-old child of the missing person, Suzanne Simpson, stated that on Sunday evening, 10/6/24, her dad, defendant, had pushed her mother against the wall, hit physically her mother on the face, and hurt her mother's elbow inside their residence. According to the child, Brad also turned off her mother's phone because they were fighting. I have to say I am extremely proud of this little 5-year-old child. That is impressive. Good for her. Your affiant later reviewed body camera footage from the initial report at the Simpson residence. Your affiant observed the defendant claim that Suzanne Simpson lost her cell phone while at a local HEB prior to coming home on the evening of October 6th. I have no idea what an HEB is. Maybe y'all down in Texas can tell me what that is. I have no idea. On 10/8 at approximately 9 a.m., your affiant listened to a phone conversation that occurred between Olmos Park Police Chief Fidel Villegas and the defendant. Your affiant notes defendant said he had seen his wife the morning of Monday the 7th at approximately 6:30 a.m. as he was leaving to drop his child at school. Let me just guess. He normally doesn't drop the child off at school. Wild guess. Okay. Defendant stated he peeked into a separate room and observed his wife asleep. This contradicts his statements about not seeing his wife when he initially spoke to patrol officers Maldonado and Davila on the night of the 7th. On the 8th, it's hard to keep track of lies, guys. It's hard to keep track of lies. And the police are going to call you on them every single time. All right, on 10/8, your affiant spoke with Company F Texas Ranger Jesse L. Paris, who is a Texas certified peace officer. Texas Ranger Paris is assisting in this investigation. Paris told me that he spoke with, redacted, a credible and reliable person who stated she witnessed defendant and Suzanne Simpson engaged in a verbal altercation while at a party at the Argyle, located at this location, the evening of the 6th. Your affiant also learned from Officer Tubbs that the Simpsons attended the party at the Argyle Club. Through interviews and information obtained from the other officers, your affiant determined that on the evening of the 6th, Suzanne Simpson and her 5-year-old daughter left the party at approximately 8:30 p.m. at the Argyle and went to the HEB at 300 West Alamos Drive. Okay, I am just curious at this point. Okay, HEB Alamos Drive, Texas. I don't even know what is an HEB. Almost Drive. Oh, it's like a convenience store, I guess. Or a grocery store, I guess. Okay, so an HEB is it's a grocery store. Got it. All right. Getting back. All right. Almost Drive, San Antonio, Texas. They were there from 8:40 p.m. to 8:51 p.m. according to video surveillance footage from the HEB. Your affiant believes that Suzanne Simpson and her daughter arrived at her residence shortly thereafter. Your affiant learned from the Texas Department of Public Safety criminal analyst, a criminal analyst, that upon reviewing the call detail records for Suzanne Simpson's cellular service, they observed the following on the 6th. Oh my goodness. At 9:15 p.m., Suzanne Simpson called family friend, redacted, to say she was coming over. Your affiant reviewed a surveillance video from the Alamo Heights Police Department, which shows Suzanne Simpson's vehicle arriving at that residence at approximately 9:25. At 9:16, Suzanne Simpson called her mother, redacted, to report that the defendant had just assaulted her, causing pain to her arm, back, and neck. The duration of the phone call was from 9:16 to 9:24. Your affiant later learned from Suzanne Simpson's cell phone carrier that her device was suspended on 10/6/2024 at approximately 9:16 p.m. at the request of the subscriber. A review of the defendant's phone records indicates the defendant accessed the AT&T application at the same time Suzanne Simpson's service was suspended. This contradicts the defendant's initial statement about Suzanne Simpson losing her phone on 10/6. Oh my goodness. Guys, this is an idiot here. This is an idiot. Obviously not one of us brilliant true crimers who knows that you can't do this sort of stuff. Oh my goodness. Let's go on. I can't believe this. Hold on. I want to see what you guys are saying here. Let me pull this down. We'll bring up your comments. Let's see what you guys are saying. All right. So it's supermarket. Oh, HEB is the best grocery store ever, says Hyatt. Sergeant Campbell is an amazing, very intelligent investigator. Yep. Good. Yes, indeed. It's your major grocery store. Okay, the HEB is the major grocery store. Got it. You guys are awesome. Zach is originally from PA, or at least spent some time in PA. It's the Giant Eagle. Got it. You guys know. Okay, when I get here, it's pronounced Bernie. All right. I will, when I get there, I will do my best to remember that. Thank you, Madeline. Okay. Let's go back to, here we go. On 10/8/2024, your affiant spoke with Chandler Suzanne Simpson, a credible and reliable witness, and the 20-year-old daughter of the defendant and of Suzanne Simpson. She stated she was reviewing her Apple iPhone's Find My application that shares time and location data of a connected device to members of a group. She stated the Simpson family, including her mother, Suzanne Simpson, and Chandler's siblings, use this application and can see each other's phone locations. Chandler stated the last location of Suzanne Simpson's iPhone listed on her application was at their home residence, there on Almost Drive, on Sunday, 10/6 at 10:22. Chandler Simpson showed your affiant the screenshot of the Find My application, which documented the location of Suzanne Simpson's iPhone's last known location. 11. On 10/8/2024, your affiant conducted a non-custodial interview on so-and-so who resides at 515 East Olmos Drive number 2, Olmos Park, Bear, Texas, directly across the street from the Simpson residence. Your affiant determined that redacted was found to be credible and reliable. Redacted stated he witnessed the defendant and Suzanne Simpson loudly arguing after 10 p.m. on Sunday the 6th in the front yard of his residence. He stated he saw the defendant and Suzanne Simpson physically struggling with each other. He stated Suzanne broke free from the defendant's grasp and ran away from defendant in a westerly direction. He stated the defendant started running after Suzanne Simpson and was trying to grab her. He stated he later lost sight of them as they exited his yard. He stated he went inside his house to get a flashlight and came back outside. He told me he later heard screams coming from the wooded area across from his home. He stated that approximately 1 hour later, he heard the defendant's truck start up and depart the area. He stated he heard the defendant's truck return approximately 1 hour later. Wow. Your affiant learned from the Texas Department of Public Safety criminal analyst and Federal Bureau of Investigation's forensic examiners the following. The defendant intentionally engaged in a series of on-off cycles to include complete shutdowns of his cellular device, preventing data collection beginning from 10/6/24 at approximately 11:09 p.m. through 10/7/24. Let me guess. Like, brilliant guy here, he doesn't ever do that, right? It never happens. Because of course it doesn't. He's covering his tracks. Which just, the evidence of you doing that is just evidence, sir. FBI forensic examiners advised your affiant the defendant shut down his phone in a manner rarely seen, referred to as lockdown mode. FBI forensic examiners define lockdown as the shutdown of a cell phone done by a person who wants to avoid detection. Yep. Okay, on the 11th, your affiant learned from Ranger Perez that he obtained and reviewed location data from both the defendant's cell phone and vehicle, a black 2019 GMC Sierra truck with this license plate. Your affiant noted that this is the same vehicle that the defendant was driving during the time frame Suzanne Simpson went missing. On the same date of the 11th, your affiant learned from Ranger Perez that he obtained surveillance video from Howard Early Childhood Center, and he reviewed the videos with Ranger Perez and observed that on the 7th at approximately 7:53 a.m., the defendant's vehicle, a black 2019 GMC Sierra truck, was observed at school dropping off his 5-year-old daughter. Upon further review of the video, your affiant observed that the defendant's truck bed area contained at least 2 white trash bags with red strings and what appeared to be a large ice chest. Oh no. On 10/12, your affiant learned from Texas Ranger Perez that he obtained surveillance footage from the HEB. He said that the defendant and his truck were observed in the surveillance footage. Your affiant observed that on 10/7 at approximately 12:33 a.m., the defendant's truck bed is clear of any cargo at this time besides a large ice chest. On the 14th, your affiant learned from Texas Ranger Perez that on the 7th at approximately 9:12 a.m., defendant's vehicle was seen on the drive-through camera at a Whataburger. Man, I wouldn't mind a Whataburger right now. Located at 621 West Bandera Road. Oh man. Is it? Here it is. And it's pronounced Bernie. Okay. Got it. West Bandera Road, Bernie, Kendall County, Texas. Your affiant learned via financial records that the defendant purchased food items at this location via his debit card. Upon reviewing the video, your affiant observed the following items in the defendant's truck bed: 3 white trash bags, a large gray heavy-duty trash can, an ice chest, a large bulky item wrapped and secured in a blue tarp with a silver in color metal firewood rack placed on top of the blue tarp in a manner to conceal and weigh down the tarp. Upon further observation of the blue tarp, your affiant believes that there is an unknown object concealed within the blue tarp due to its shape and size, and it being secured by a strap/rope. In your affiant's training and experience and past investigations, your affiant is aware that criminals will commonly conceal, transport, or disguise their victims in a manner described above to purposefully avoid detection by law enforcement. Apparently, we don't, as humans, turned criminals, not us specifically, but people who break bad, apparently make the same mistakes over and over and over again. None of us are really all that unique, I guess. Let me check in with your comments here. Okay, let's see what you guys are saying. Anything to me? Yeah, Kathleen says, Gavin, he isn't the smartest tool in the shed now, is he? No, perhaps we will use this case as a what not to do. You're in Amarillo. It's pronounced bear. That makes no sense whatsoever. But you know what? There's a town in Pennsylvania that is spelled Dubois, and people around here call it Dubois. And there is a town in West Virginia that is spelled Buena Vista, and people call it Buena Vista. So, okay, you call it bear. That's cool. I need to figure that part out. Let's see. My ex-husband would turn my phone off with the carrier whenever he was angry at me. Like he would call. I promise. He would call and like turn it off. Wow. Talk about coercive control, man. That is uncool. All right. Let's keep going down here. All right. I'm caught up. Here we go. Goodness sake. This guy, man. Okay. Paragraph 18. I learned from Ranger Paris the cell phone geolocation data showed the defendant at or near a Home Depot located in Kendall County, in Bernie, Kendall County. They both reviewed the surveillance footage from 10/7 at 9:53 a.m., capturing the defendant purchasing 2 bags of Quikrete cement. Are you kidding me? An orange Home Depot construction bucket with a lid, a box of 32 count heavy-duty trash bags, 1 bottle of 30-ounce Clorox disinfectant spray, and insect repellent. Oh. Your affiant learned that the defendant purchased these items via a cash transaction. Your affiant later observed a copy of the Home Depot receipt that documented the purchase of these items by the defendant. You know what I'm wondering about? It says that they were tracking his truck. It wasn't just his cell phone. It was also his truck. And that reminds me, there's a case here in Western PA. It's a sad case. You can go to my website and see it. Let me bring that up here real quick. If you go here, it's the case of Rebecca Byler. Rebecca was a 23-year-old pregnant Amish mother of 2. Okay. She was murdered, and a guy named Sean Cranston was charged with her murder, and we're waiting for the trial on that, right? It's kind of going through its processes. He had like his cell phone turned off. Well, did he? Yeah, I think he did. I think he had his cell phone turned off, but when he bought his car, he did it through financing, and one of the terms and conditions that he allowed on his car was for a GPS device to be attached to the car by the finance company. So police, they suspect him and all. They have him in the Hooskow, and then they have his car in impound, and then the finance company calls the police station because they're like, hey, we see our car, a car that we financed, we paid for, in your lockup, and we haven't gotten our monthly payments. Can we have our car back? And the police were like, what now? You have a GPS on that? And that's how they were able to track all of his whereabouts. So it makes me wonder if this guy, where is he? This guy had a similar thing on his car, or maybe he just had, it was a modern truck, and so it had a GPS tracking device. I don't know. But it's he's not the smartest thing in the world. What he's doing is definitely not the smartest thing in the world. I shouldn't be laughing, of course. I mean, we've got a victim here, right? We've got a victim who is likely in that blue tarp, probably weighed down by concrete. I know that investigators have looked in landfills, but maybe she's in a bog or in a swamp or a lake or something like that. Just wow. Okay. Your affiant learned from Ranger Paris, with the assistance of the FBI, they located an unknown male in the Home Depot parking lot that was observed speaking with the defendant prior to his purchase on the 7th. Your affiant learned that this unknown male was identified as redacted. Learned from the Texas Rangers that during an interview with redacted, he confirmed the defendant randomly came up to him in the parking lot to ask directions to the nearest dump in Bernie. Okay. Your affiant learned from Texas Rangers that redacted provide directions to the Kendall County solid waste site located 46 Spanish Pass Road there in Bernie. Using redacted cellular device and not the defendant's cellular device. Oh, okay. So he provided directions with his cell phone. Got it. Okay. Your affiant notes that during this time, the defendant intentionally shuts off his cellular device. Your affiant learned from the Department of Public Safety criminal analyst that the defendant's vehicle was captured via a license plate reader, Flock. Once again, guys, this is part of Fusus, probably. At 10:07 a.m. after the Home Depot transaction, your affiant observed this photograph, which clearly shows the same observations in the Whataburger surveillance camera from a different vantage point. Your affiant notes that a box of trash bags the defendant purchased appears to be in the truck bed as well. Your affiant notes the defendant intentionally entered an on-off cycle of the cellular device to include a lockdown mode after departing Home Depot and speaking with redacted. Your affiant learned from Texas Department of Public Safety criminal analysts that vehicle location data obtained from the defendant's vehicle captured his vehicle. He probably didn't even know. He had no idea. He probably uses that giant screen in his truck, right, to get directions and so forth. He probably has GPS going all the time, but didn't even think that, hey, this might be recording this. It might be logging this. Oh my goodness. Okay. Okay. Captured on his vehicle on 10-7 near Kendall County solid waste site located at this road. Your affiant learned that surveillance video from a nearby business in the area of the waste site captured the defendant's vehicle driving away from the waste site. Guys, all this I bet was from Fusus. I bet they didn't have to canvass anything. Your affiant learned from Ranger Paris that defendant's vehicle was later observed at the Valero Stripes gas station located on Johns Road in Bernie, Kendall County, Texas at 11:15 a.m. Your affiant notes the defendant arrived at the gas station after departing the waste site. Your affiant observed a surveillance video of the defendant utilizing his debit card to purchase gasoline for his truck. The defendant later purchased 2 one-gallon jugs of water via a cash transaction. Your affiant notes that upon further review of the surveillance video, the white trash bags are now missing from the defendant's truck bed, but the blue tarp, firewood rack, and trash can are still present. Your affiant notes that upon further review of surveillance footage, the defendant changed footwear from black in color men's sandals to dark colored cowboy-styled boots. We learned from Texas Ranger Paris that a video canvassing team located a surveillance camera showing the defendant's vehicle headed westbound from Boerne into Bandera. Your affiant notes the blue tarp with the fire rack on top of it remained in the defendant's truck bed. Your affiant learned from Texas Ranger Paris upon further review of the defendant's vehicle, location data captured the defendant traveling westbound through Bandera County, Texas, and into Medina, Bandera, Texas. Your affiant notes the defendant intentionally entered an on-off cycle of his cellular device while traveling towards Medina, Bandera County, Texas. Your affiant learned from Texas Ranger Paris that he was told by Company F Texas Ranger Daniel McMillan that he was able to obtain surveillance footage which showed the defendant's vehicle in Medina, Bandera County, Texas on the 7th. Your affiant learned from Texas Ranger Paris that he was advised by Texas Ranger McMillan that the defendant's vehicle remained in the Medina area for approximately 13 minutes prior to heading eastbound back into Kendall County, Texas. Oh my goodness. It just doesn't matter how much you try to, I guess, cover your tracks. Your tracks are not coverable in today's day and age. And even then, guys, I saw a video with a former investigator, a criminologist, saying even then, 50% of homicides go unsolved. Okay. Let's see what you guys are saying over here. Give me a second. Let's bring Suzanne up. We've been looking too much at all the stuff. All right. Let me go back up. All right. Let me get through here. Texas Patty says there's a strong Hispanic influence in Texas, especially in San Antonio, of course. Yep. Yeah. Lancaster, Pennsylvania does not sound like Lancaster, California. That is true. People mispronounce Duquesne here. Duquesne. All right. Oh, yeah. In Rochester, New York, there's a street called Denise, and everybody calls it Denise. Yes. Okay. Anyway. Sort of stuff kills me. Maybe Home Depot and similar stores should have some sort of alert when people purchase those items at the same time. Something like requiring ID when purchasing certain medication. Like, hey, this purchase really looks like you're trying to bury a body and clean up after yourself. We're not going to allow this. We're calling the police. I think you'd probably catch your fair share of criminals. Hand of Ike. This dude inherited the millions, right? There's no way he's smart enough otherwise. I don't know the answer to that question, Ike. Let me do a quick ask here. How did Brad Simpson in San Antonio, Texas, make his money? Let's see what it says. Real estate. Real estate. And then, entrepreneurial stuff. Yeah, so he's an entrepreneur, real estate guy. That's how he got his money. So he's smart enough to do that, but not smart enough to cover his tracks, thank goodness. Yeah, Patty Olson saying that 5-year-old was not only brave, but very smart to tell a mandated reporter at her daycare center. Jenny says, Gavin, I heard that she told her personal banker that if she went missing to look for her in a lake. If that isn't haunting and so sad, I don't know what is. Wow. Yeah, that's pretty bad. Wait, isn't this the guy who asked someone in the Home Depot parking lot for directions to the dump? Yes, he did. Yeah, we got to that. We got to that. Oh, I'm sorry to laugh, guys. I mean, I know that we're talking about a murder here. Zach saying, Gavin, the more you try to make yourself inconspicuous, the more conspicuous you actually are. As the saying goes, Kathy Roberts, you can run, but you can't hide. Yes, indeed. All right. Thanks for those comments, guys. Let's go, not there. Let's go over here. All right. Where do we leave off? 13 minutes. Okay. Your affiant learned from the Department of Public Safety that the truck was later captured via license plate reader, again, probably Fusus, on the 7th at 1:41 p.m., entering Bernie County from the Bandera County area. Your affiant notes upon further observation that the blue tarp is no longer visible and the firewood rack is now positioned within the truck bed. So is he scattering her? Did he scatter her remains? Is that what happened? Or did he get rid of some of like the cleanup stuff in one area and then get rid of her body in another? I don't understand why you would need a bucket and concrete to go to the landfill. I just don't understand that. To me, like the commenter said earlier, it sounds like a lake to me. Okay. Paragraph 25. Your affiant learned from Paris that upon further review of surveillance footage from Howard Early Childhood Center, the defendant was observed picking up his daughter at approximately 3:27 p.m. The defendant's vehicle truck bed was clear of the blue tarp and the metal firewood rack. The defendant's truck bed had the ice chest and the large gray heavy-duty trash can, which are both visible at the time. So he had been doing some cleaning and rearranging, apparently. Your affiant learned from Paris and Investigations Division special agents obtained information that the defendant was a member of the Bubble Bath Car Wash. Your affiant learned from Texas Ranger Paris that on the 7th at approximately 4:07 p.m., the defendant and his vehicle were observed on surveillance camera at the Bubble Bath, washing and cleaning the driver front side and the rear left passenger side of the passenger compartment. Your affiant later reviewed photographs of the defendant's vehicle and contents taken by Texas Ranger Kevin Wright. Your affiant noted dried cement splashes were later located in the rear passenger compartment of the vehicle to include in the truck bed. Your affiant also observed a photograph that showed a 30-ounce Clorox bottle located within the rear passenger compartment of the vehicle. The truck bed contained only the ice chest with no other items that were observed in previous surveillance videos. Something just occurred to me here, guys. Something just occurred to me. I don't think in terms of how to discard of bodies. That's just something that I normally am not thinking about in my everyday life. If you buy a Home Depot bucket and a lid and just put the bag of concrete in there, not open it, but put the bag in there and use that as a weight as it is, it will solidify later. It will stay the same weight, right? So it's not like he had to like mix the concrete and put it in a bucket unless he decided to do that, I guess. I mean, it's just awfully odd. Like, why would you mix it? This is reminding me, guys, when, I'm sorry, you guys probably don't care about this, but years and years ago, I lived in Argentina. And I was living in a place in, what was the name of that place? It wasn't Guiñazú. It was Quisquisacate. It was this little place in the province of Cordoba, kind of right at the foot of the Andes, the foothills that make it up into the Andes there in Argentina. And We lived in this picturesque little house in this town, and there was a beautiful lake that reminded me of like Folsom Lake, where I did a lot of playing and swimming and water skiing and stuff like that. As a kid, it reminded me of that sort of thing in the foothills, and it was called Dique San Roque. Well, anyway, my dad, because he just is a person who loves learning new things, because I was in Argentina, he was sending me things that he was learning of Argentina. And he sent me these clips from National Geographic that were about a student uprising in Argentina in the 90s, or maybe it was the 80s. I can't remember. But many of those students just were made to be disappeared. They call them desaparecidos. They were just made to be disappeared. Then later on, as they investigated this whole thing afterwards, in Dique San Roque, the National Geographic took pictures of like concrete weights that were on the bottom of the lake bed, chains and cinder blocks and other concrete weights. And I was like, holy crap, this picturesque lake right here, that is where people were disappeared like not too long ago, because it was in the 90s that I was there, man. Ooh, it's very dark. Very, very dark. Very dark indeed. Okay. I got sidetracked on that. Sorry, guys. Let me get back to... Where am I getting back to? Oh, I know. We're going over here. Here we go. All right. Paragraph 27. On the 10th, your affiant, Sergeant M. Campbell, and Company F Texas Ranger Christopher Tamas conducted a non-custodial interview of James Valley Cotter at his residence located here. Your affiant later observed text messages on Cotter's cell phone capturing the following communications. Okay. Now remember, this is the guy who was arrested. What was he arrested for? Give me a second. I'll find it. Cotter. Yeah, he was arrested for tampering with evidence after allegedly assisting Brad Simpson in hiding a firearm potentially linked to this case. Okay. All right. So he looks at the text messages. On 10/8, 4:30 p.m., defendant texted Cotter, "If you're in Bandera, can you haul ass and meet me at your house? I don't have much time." Cotter responded, "I will be there in 40 minutes. Defendant responded, "Okay, make sure and leave all that ass into the pump house, especially the gun." Okay, Cotter texted the defendant at 8:31 p.m. that night. The following text: "Get over here. I won't tell anyone." This was followed by the following text from Cotter: "You're my brother." These texts were sent prior to the defendant's arrest on the 9th. Oh my goodness. What are you doing texting each other? Crying out loud. Like, I'm so glad they are, guys. Don't get me wrong. I'm really glad they are. But wow. Like, just seriously, wow. Okay. On the night of the 8th, Perez obtained an arrest warrant for the defendant for the offenses of assault, family violence, and unlawful restraint. Your affiant learned from Texas Ranger Perez that he had arrested the defendant in Kendall County, Texas for his active warrants in the early morning hours of Wednesday the 9th. Your affiant learned from Texas Ranger Perez that the defendant did not appear surprised at the time of his arrest, nor did the defendant question why he was being arrested. Your affiant learned from Perez that he conducted a custodial interview of the defendant and observed numerous lacerations and bruises on the defendant's hands and arms. Real quick, we'll bring up Suzanne here again. When they're talking about non-custodial versus custodial here, right? A non-custodial interview is they don't have you in custody. They're just talking to you, right? In this one, when they're talking custodial, they have them in custody. Typically, that means, and I know that like there's a lot of gray area here, but typically that means that person was read their Miranda warnings, was advised that they could have an attorney, was advised that they could remain silent, the whole shebang. So this is a custodial interview. The person is in custody. All right. Okay, so he conducted a custodial interview of the defendant and observed the lacerations and bruises on his hands and arms. Your affiant learned from Texas Ranger Paris that the defendant again claimed to him that Suzanne had lost her phone at the HEB on Sunday on the 6th. Your affiant learned from Texas Ranger Paris that the defendant appeared unconcerned about his wife being missing and showed little to no emotion. Does this remind you of anybody that we've been talking about at length here on the channel over the last couple of months? Not worried at all about the missing person, right? Where is it? Your affiant learned from Texas Ranger Paris that the defendant invoked his right to counsel after being questioned about the physical altercation that occurred between the defendant and Suzanne Simpson 10/6/24. Well, hallelujah. You finally have done something smart. Like, why you didn't do that in the very beginning, I don't know. I am grateful for it, but wow. Dude. All right. Paragraph 29. Maybe that's a good spot to check in on comments here. Give me a second here, guys. Let's close this down. We're gonna bring this up. All right. Oh man, it just refreshed. Here we go. Jenny Ellison, Gavin, that is something I wondered. I wondered when I heard the specifics of the timeline if he was scattering her. That just seems to be the way it is, that he's getting rid of her in many pieces. Gavin, it almost sounds like Fotis Doulos and Michelle Triconis. I don't know. I don't know if this is a joke because those don't sound like real names, or if that is a case that I should know about, Mooney. But yeah, I mean, sounds more like the Marx Brothers to me, right? Vicky Maynard, Gavin, I hope he didn't scatter her. I still hope they find her, however unlikely that is. Yeah, me too. Jenny, I was wondering if it was a lake. Then I heard in another live that was covering this case that people from the area didn't think it would be a lake because of how low the lake levels have been. That's interesting. I wonder if, I mean, they haven't said anything about a boat yet, if he owns a boat. Yeah, I wonder. Nick the Booksmith, concrete doubles in weight when it's, I did not know that. I mean, it does make sense, but I thought that concrete cured, so it didn't hold the water. I thought the water was just the activator. It doesn't matter though. It doesn't matter. Take your word for it. Yeah, destroying evidence. Yes. Gavin, there's a town in Mississippi spelled Shuqualak that is pronounced Sugarlock. Okay. Mississippi, you win. Rancho Cordova checking in. I drive up and down Highway 50 every day. Well, you're in my neck of the woods. That's where I grew up. I grew up in Orangevale. Jan Marie, Gavin, that's exactly what I thought with the bucket and the concrete when I first heard it. Yeah, that's okay. It's not just me. Not just me. Good. Gavin, this sounds like Jen. It certainly does. Certainly does. And Gavin, is this the first reporting of abuse? I don't know the answer to that. I read an article earlier that the oldest daughter who is named in this, who has been public, actually, it's not like we're trying to, she's not trying to withhold her identity or stay private, that her dad did beat her mom. But I don't know if the abuse had ever been made, had ever been reported publicly. Okay, Gavin, I can't believe you don't know about this one. I will look at it, guys. You know, this is one of the moments where I betray that I have never been a true crime fan until I started doing this YouTube channel. I started this YouTube channel in true crime because my friend Rick was like, hey, let's do true crime. And I was like, sure. Yeah. Whatever, let's do it. And then once I started, I just loved the troubleshooting and the puzzling, the puzzle solving side of it so much that, I've just become addicted. But because of my day job reporting from the courthouse all the time, I've got so much crime in my life, it's coming out of my ears. So, okay, I gotta check out that case. I have not done that. Okay, Hand of Ike says, Gavin, if he is scattering her, maybe the bucket and cement are a good holder for a certain highly identifiable body part. Maybe. Yeah. That's hard to think about, isn't it? It's hard to think about. All right, let's head back on over here. Pick up where we were. All right. Let's see. Okay, on the 9th, search warrant was executed at the residence. Your affiant and Ranger Wright observed an indentation located on the wall at the bottom of the stairway at the residence. Your affiant, Sergeant M. Campbell, spoke with Chelsea Deanne Simpson, the daughter of the defendant. Oh, I thought it was Chandler. Sorry, Chelsea. Daughter of the defendant and of Suzanne. Your affiant learned from Chelsea the damage to the wall was recent and not previously there when she previously visited the home. Your affiant later interviewed the Simpsons' housekeeper, redacted, confirmed to your affiant that she last worked at the Simpson residence on the 7th. Your affiant asked her to identify the type of trash bags that the Simpsons would utilize. She described the trash bags as white in color with red handles. Yeah, those are the kinds of trash bags that we use here. Your affiant learned from the Olmos Park Public Works Division the Simpsons utilize trash service through the city and that their normal pickup day is Monday. Later that afternoon, on the 9th, Texas Rangers executed a search warrant at the defendant's property at redacted Bandera County, Texas. Your affiant learned from Texas Rangers that they had located a ground-level burn site with a burnt laptop and multiple cellular devices. Your affiant noted that on 10/8, a Bandera County Sheriff's Office deputy had contacted the defendant at the property while he was standing by the active fire. Your affiant later learned from Texas Department of Public Safety criminal analysts that 3 cell phones recovered from the burn pit were identified as belonging to the defendant. Your affiant's training and experience has taught him that criminals often engage in destruction of evidence in an effort to impair or hinder a criminal investigation. Of course. Wow. Dude, this is... Hold on, what page are we at? Okay, yeah. All right, where were we? Page... paragraph 31. Just a little more to go here, guys. Goodness sake. This guy... Your affiant observed search warrants for call detail records for the defendant's cellular service and Suzanne Simpson's cellular service, and a search warrant for defendant's cell phone, an iPhone 14, in his possession at the time of his arrest. The Texas Rangers later executed these search warrants. Pursuant to the search of the defendant's cell phone, your affiant learned from the Texas Department of Public Safety criminal analyst and FBI forensic examiners, they had located 2 notes within the listed device that were titled This Next Life and Last Will and Testament, apologizing for physically assaulting Suzanne Simpson one time in August of 2023 and again on the previous Sunday night, 10/6. Your affiant learned the defendant created these notes on 10/8, which was after the alleged assault of Suzanne Simpson on the 6th and prior to his arrest by the Texas Rangers. So this would prove what prosecutors would call consciousness of guilt if this ever gets to a trial. On 10/10, your affiant learned from Texas Ranger Paris. Hang on just a second. By the way, guys, this is a tangent for sure, but We in my family, we live in a town. We live in a town that has horrible water, horrible tasting water. It's very hard water, does not taste good. So when we first moved here, we bought a cheap reverse osmosis system. It lasted a couple years, then died. Then we bought another one. It lasted even a shorter amount of time. And for the last couple of months, we've been going to a spring and getting water and then treating it ourselves. Well, I have ordered a water drop reverse osmosis system that I'm so excited about, because it means I won't have to go out to the spring every week to get tons of water. And I've been talking to Water Drop. They might come on as a sponsor of the channel. Maybe. Who knows? You never know. But I'm really excited because it's really high end and it has delicious tasting water. I'm really looking forward to it. Okay, here we go. Back to this. Where are we? Okay. Learned that during the search of the vehicle, they searched the vehicle, Texas Ranger identified stains that tested presumptively positive for blood. Your affiant later learned from the Bexar County Criminal Investigation Laboratory the blood evidence belonged to the defendant. Your affiant learned from Texas Ranger Paris that on 10/23 he interviewed a Frost Bank employee, redacted, who was Suzanne Simpson's personal banker. Your affiant learned from Texas Ranger Paris that redacted disclosed that Suzanne Simpson made an outcry of being physically abused by the defendant and that the defendant would commonly take her cell phone away. Oh my goodness. So much coercive control. Oh my goodness. Take a cell phone away? That is, come on. Texas Ranger Paris told your affiant that redacted advised him that Suzanne Simpson told her that the defendant would tell their children that she lost her phone after the defendant took it from her. Aha, a pattern. Paris told your affiant that she told him that Suzanne Simpson advised her that if she went missing, look for her in a lake. I bet she had been told, I will dump your body in a lake. You know, if lake waters are low, maybe that's a good time to dump in the lake. Because if they're very low and you can get it in there, when the waters rise, then it's way out in the middle of the water. Okay, she was Suzanne Simpson's personal banker over this past financial year. Your affiant notes that Texas Ranger Paris told him that this conversation took place around August of 2024, so not August of 2023 like his note said. Your affiant reviewed cell phone data from the defendant's cell phone, which captures a text message communication from a female identified as redacted. Your affiant observed a text message that the defendant sent on September 17th to redacted. Your affiant observed the following information. I still feel bad about tonight. I never should have grabbed her phone and drove off, but she was so protective of it. My dumb A didn't know her passcode, so I got locked out and had to bring it back. I really have no interest in looking through her phone or anybody else's. These devices are the devil. Yeah, the devices are, sir. The devices are the devil. Come on. Your affiant requested that the Texas Rangers interview redacted at her residence in Longview, Texas. Your affiant spoke with Company B Texas Ranger Michael Golden, who conducted the interview on redacted on 10/30 at approximately 6:40 p.m. and learned the following information. Your affiant learned that redacted told Texas Ranger Golden that Suzanne Simpson was aware that the defendant would track her and that the defendant was extremely jealous. On 10/23, Olmos Park Police and Texas Rangers conducted a subsequent search warrant at the Simpson residence. Your affiant learned from Texas Ranger Paris that he had located one bag of Quikrete cement in the box of heavy-duty black trash bags, a gray heavy-duty trash bag, and the metal firewood rack. Your affiant was advised by Ranger Paris that the box of trash bags contained only 28 of the 32 total trash bags. The defendant has been incarcerated since 10/9. So there was the splashing of cement, but he found a bag of cement. Oh, that makes me wonder if he was planning on doing a second trip or something like that. Or if it was the same bag. No, it doesn't make sense, does it? Okay, I'm going to keep reading, but let's bring her up here. There were no signs of Suzanne Simpson being alive. There are no signs of Suzanne Simpson being alive since the defendant physically assaulted her on October 6th. This has been verified by Suzanne Simpson's cell phone records, financial records, family, friends, and coworkers. Your affiant is aware that no credible tips or information were obtained from the active Texas Clear Alert, and law enforcement has been unable to locate Suzanne Simpson after a large amount of search efforts. All family, friends, and coworkers agree the victim would never willingly abandon her children. Your affiant submits probable cause to believe the defendant intentionally and knowingly caused the death of Suzanne Clark Simpson on or about Sunday, the 6th of October in Olmos Park, Bexar County, Texas. The facts in this affidavit come from my personal observations, my training and experience, and information obtained from other officers. This affidavit is intended to show that there is sufficient probable cause for the requested warrant and does not set forth all my knowledge in this matter. And that's something that's important, guys. The affidavit of probable cause really is just there to establish enough probable cause for a judge to sign off on the warrant. It's not going to include the entire case. That's a pretty sad story. Let's go over to your comments over here. Give me a second. It is refreshing. Boom. Okay. Bring this up. All right. The bag of concrete can also be used as a weight anchor. Yeah, it doesn't need the bucket, right? Okay. Kimberly, thank you for that. Jenny, Gavin, I read that Suzanne's mom doesn't think she's alive and knew of a prior altercation between Suzanne and Brad. She never thought it would escalate to anything like this. Guys, this is something that I think we all need to learn and let it sink in, that if a person is capable of, and it's mostly men that we talk about on this channel, right? Most of our victims are women. But if a man is capable of losing his temper and getting violent, first of all, everybody is capable of extreme violence. I don't care who you are. Everybody's capable of it given the right circumstances. Okay. But if a man goes to violence once against his spouse or his partner, the likelihood of him doing it again is very high. I don't know the statistics, but it's very high. If it happens once, that is enough. That's enough. And I know you say to yourself, I don't want to throw away my whole life here, our children, our life that we've built together. But I'm telling you, one time is enough, man. One time you need to leave. You need to go. And I don't care how many times he says, I'm sorry, and how many times he says it'll never happen again. You can forgive, but don't put yourself back in the situation. Just don't do it. It's so sad. BJM, thank you for taking the time to learn how to fix the CC. Yeah, I just needed a little bit of time to figure that out, and I'm glad that I did. I'm glad you're happy too. Zach says no water in PA tastes good. Incorrect. The spring water tastes delicious. And I'm looking forward to my new delicious RO water, like living in pioneer times. Yes, indeed. Yeah, I think I'm pronouncing it correct. I'm saying bear, right? Okay. Yeah, shades of Suzanne and Barry Morphew. Yeah. Pray that her body is found soon. Her family receives all the love and support they're going to need. Yeah, they really are. Gavin, I live in Longview, Texas. Texas. Nice. Let me go back up. It just refreshed again. Was just about to tell you pronouncing is bear, catching up. Okay. Watching in sunny Spain, flying back to London in 9.5 hours. Nice. Kimberly and I are thinking about doing the opposite. When we go to London in June, we're thinking about heading over to Spain for a little bit. I honestly want to check out Portugal because I've never been to Portugal, but somewhere down there in that peninsula, we're going to spend some time there. Pretty fun. Let's bring Suzanne back up here. Jenna says 100% leave the first time, learn the patterns of abuse so you don't get sucked back in. By the way, the same thing is true for same-sex partnerships, for opposite-sex partnerships. It doesn't have to be a man abusing a woman. It could be the opposite. It just seems to me that it's more often men abusing women, but it happens all ways. Judith Sturgis, Gavin, a thing to note, if someone is telling you small stories, believe the situation is worse than you're being told. The situation does not improve, it escalates. Yes. Yes, indeed. Zach, I got it. Yeah, top water's no good out here. Texas Patty, it does look like we got some Texans down there. Stacy, Gavin, what's your opinion about men who are violent by destroying property but have never physically hurt their partner? Now that's coercive control. It's coercive control. It's abuse. That's what it is. And it will escalate. So run away. And I know it's hard, and I know it's hard to do, and I know it's easy to say. Nevertheless, it remains good advice. Run away fast and soon. Thanks for that question. Taking away the cell phone and tracking her reminds me of Micah and the pastor. Yes, sir, indeed it does. And we need laws like this around the nation. We need these coercive control laws. When it comes to Micah Francis Miller, I honestly believe that his behavior led her to eventually taking her own life. And I know that there are some of you that believe that she didn't take her own life, and I respect your opinion. Either way, if somebody did it to her or she did it to herself, it was the pastor that had led her that way. And so, we need coercive control laws all around the nation, not just in a few states. Tish, yeah, she told her banker that if she went missing to look in the lake. Yes, indeed, she did. Good comments, everybody. Thank you for participating in those. Listen, we've got a couple of fun things happening next week. One that I can definitely tell you about. Let me bring it up here. Next Monday. So I won't be back tomorrow or Sunday, but on Monday, or at least I'm not planning to, I will be back with my friend Joseph Morgan. Joseph Scott Morgan. Nancy Grace calls him Joe Scott. His wife calls him Joseph. So I'm just going to stick with Joseph. But he is going to be on the show, and we're going to be talking about the complexities of investigating a case like Madeline Soto. Even though there's so much, in Madeline's case, there are like 5 or 6 different crime scenes that all have to be investigated. We're going to ask Joseph some questions about this sort of stuff. And I hope you guys tune in because we'll be taking your questions, and he's given us a lot of time here. So we're going to spend a good amount of time together. So if you are not already subscribed, which is totally cool, but you want to get a notification that this is happening, please consider subscribing. Only about 40% of my viewers are subscribers. So please, if you think that I've earned it, please go ahead and subscribe. I've been putting it up on the screen tonight, but please, if you are on Facebook and you would like to join our merry little band of true crime aficionados over in the Fish Tank, please do that. Just search the Fish Tank or search Gavin Fish True Crime. You'll find it. It's look, we're coming up on 2,900 members now. And then always know that you can contact me here on the website. You can look at the cases that I'm covering. You can read the blog posts that I post. That was poorly constructed communication there, but you guys know what I mean. So don't forget the website. Don't forget the Fish Tank. Don't forget to come back on Monday at 7:30 Eastern for some time with Joseph Scott Morgan. With that, guys, man, I hope you have a terrific weekend. I bid you adieu, and I will see you on the next one. Take care. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you liked what you saw, please consider subscribing. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below.